Good morning, everyone. First announcement, I'm recovering from a cold, so keep your distance. You'll hear more about that in my sermon, but if I don't hug you or come close to you today, that's why. Just a few announcements before we get started. So as I'm sure you all remember, RE is happening across the street solely right now. So I don't see any children present, but that's where they are. Next week, after church during coffee hour, our chocolate auction is happening. Yay! I know, get excited, everybody. It's chocolate, come on. So, coordinated by the music committee. So if you would like to make something to be auctioned off in the chocolate auction, you are more than welcome to do so. But you are also invited to come next week, especially to coffee hour, to auction, to bid on things and help raise money. So all are invited. If you have any questions, talk to Paula. Is it okay that I single you out, Paula? Yeah, talk to Paula Fisher if you have questions about that. Also, starting today during coffee hour, we're going to be selling tickets for the wine tasting, which is on Saturday, February 26th. There's a blurb in your order of service, so check it out. But Mike will be selling tickets via Square at coffee hour. Did I get that right? Okay, good. I didn't have it written down, so I wasn't sure I was going to remember all those details. So that's happening. And then on Sunday, February 27th, we're doing our newbies class for our new to Unitarian Universalism. So if you are not a member, if you're a newcomer or an old comer that hasn't ever officially joined, and you want to learn more about Unitarian Universalism, its history, the church's history, how we all work together to create this beloved community of ours, all are welcome. It's after church on the 27th and lunch will be provided. So email me or come talk to me to sign up for that class. And finally, I'm going to invite Heather up, who has a brief announcement from the governing board.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? So this is just a reminder to follow the COVID policy, practice your social distancing here and across the street. Wear your mask unless when you're across the street, you're actively drinking your coffee. But in order for us to stay in community and stay in person, we do need to remember to follow the policies. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And now that we've got all that business out of the way, I invite everyone to get comfortable. Feel your back up against the pew. If you're holding anything, maybe put it down for just a minute. Unclench your hands. Your jaw is tight or your neck is tight. Maybe move it around a little bit. Just kind of loosen up and join me in taking a deep breath in and out. I always feel so good. One more. Deep breath in and out. Yeah, me too. Give yourself permission just to rest for the next hour, to take in this worship service, and to be at peace. Dennis will lead us in our chalice lighting.
As we begin our worship, we light our chalice with these words by Reverend Megan Ruth Visser. When the court is stacked against us, growing colder and more indifferent, this chalice is glowing with warmth, like it always is. This is not a long prayer, because the chalice is only a thawing station. Our faith is in the fight. We soften next to the flame. It melts fear. This isn't the kind of candle that we let burn down. We save the wax, conserve the wick, because we know we'll be back tomorrow and the next day. No, we don't just get started. Yes, it is far from over. Morning has not even begun. Joy, I know more than once, still exists within us. Steady flames, steady. Coat us with a light of possibility. Now rise as you are able and join us in the opening hymn number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Something that I carry with me all week. So thank you all for sharing. Will you now join me in the spirit of prayer? Spirit of life and source of all blessing, make your presence known with us and in us and among us. Remind us that we are not alone in our times of grief and pain. Comfort us with your spirit made manifest in human hands and voices. Remind us that we are not alone in joy and wonder. Inspire us to honor and extend the beauty that we find in this world. Remind us that we are not alone in entering the future. Anchor us with patience and perseverance and resilience. May we move with the rhythms of peace. May we move with the rhythms of justice. And most importantly, may we move with the rhythms of compassion. Open our hearts to all our neighbors, open our souls to a renewal of faith, and open our hands to join together in the work ahead. May it be so. Amen. Let us now be silent together. I now invite Bob Koska up, who will give us our reading this morning.
A blessing for risk takers and failures. Today we share in a blessing for losers, risk takers, all failures far and wide. Blessed are they who fall in the mud, who jump with gusto and rip their pants, who skin the elbows and bruise the ego, for they shall know the sweetness of risk. Blessed are they who make giant mistakes, whose intentions are good, but impact has injured, who know the hot sense of regret and ask for mercy, for their hearts will know the gift of forgiveness. Blessed are they who have seen a D or an F or a C or any letter less than perfect, who are painfully familiar with the red pen. I write with the red pen. And labels as less than, for they know the wisdom in the imperfect. Blessed are they who try again, who dust off, who wash up, who extend the wish for peace, who return to sites of failure, who are dogged in their pursuit, for they will discover the secret of dreams. Blessed are they who refuse to listen to naysayers, for their hearts will be houses for hope. Blessed are they who see beyond the surface of another, for they will be able to delight in the gift of compassion. Blessed are they who stop running the race to help a fellow traveler, who pick up the fallen, who stop for injured life, for they shall know the kindness of strangers. Blessed are they who wildly, boldly abandon winning, for they shall know the path of justice.
This is the time of our, this is the time of our offering. When we give, we say yes to something we value. In this congregation, we take up an offering each week to say yes to the values of our UU faith and yes to this beloved community. Together, we use these gifts to serve with ever greater love. Please give as you are able. Today's offering will be gratefully received. Our offering anthem is The Gift of Love by Hale Hobson.
Thank you, choir, for that beautiful hymn. In my church days as a child, I was on the choir and we sang that many times. So I just had a lovely little trip down memory lane listening to all of you. So thank you. So I've had a bit of a week, I'll be honest. Not for any seriously bad reason, but this week I hit a wall, you might say, and I got sick. So I decided to preach about it this morning because I think we've all been here. We've all experienced what I went through this past week. You keep going, you keep trying to get all the things done and done well. You keep trying to be all the things to all the people that you think are waiting for you and depending on you, who can't do what they need to do unless you do what you've told them you're going to do. You think if you just keep pushing through and crossing off that to-do list, you'll get to that mythical other side where all the tasks are done, right? And no one needs anything from you anymore. Everyone's happy, and then you can just finally lay down and take a nap. Who's with me? I hear the laughter, I know. So you've experienced this. So that's kind of what this week was like. So I had all my usual church meetings and appointments and responsibilities, which I do willingly and gladly. And I also registered for a conference for UU ministers called the Institute for Learning Ministry. It happens every 3 years. And since I'm a little new to ministry, this was the first time I actually got to go. Now, I knew I couldn't go in person. It's held in San Diego, but I registered for the online ticket. And I set about filling my calendar with all kinds of lectures and workshops and worship services. Anyone who's been to GA might have a sense of what this is like, all that huge list of all those workshops you can go to. There's so much to choose from. And this conference was all about ministry and connecting with colleagues, and it was so exciting. So I booked myself, and in one or two cases, double booked myself. Every available spot in my calendar was full around all of the already scheduled church business. My first mistake was not realizing that the conference schedule was in Pacific time. So on Monday, I had to scramble and rearrange a lot of my calendar. And for those of you that I needed to reschedule, again, my apologies. My second mistake was believing that I could do all the conference stuff and all the Reverend Emily stuff at the same time, that I could easily switch back and forth between lectures and learning on one hand and committees, meetings, and pastoral care on the other, that I was some kind of Captain America or something, and I could do it all without suffering whiplash or even getting tired. But by Thursday morning, I was a mess. I was sneezing, I was coughing, my sinuses were clogged, I had a headache, my eyes were burning from all that screen time. I was achy and tired and grumpy. I felt awful, and I felt done. And then I realized I planned to preach about resilience this Sunday. Friends, we do ourselves no favors in trying to push ourselves to our edges, wherever your edge might be. And our just do it culture, of course, doesn't help. I saw a commercial this week for the Energizer Bunny, you know, that little pink bunny banging the drum, and he just keeps going and going and going. And I got so mad watching this commercial because the subtext is that all of us living, breathing humans should be striving for that same productivity, right? We should be able to keep going and going and going. Well, after this week, I say no to that. Nope, not going to do it. That's something I learned anew this week. Now, granted, this isn't the first time I've learned this lesson, and I will learn it over and over again for the rest of my life. But I had a moment this week where I said, no, because we are not our productivity, right? We know this. We are not our productivity. You are not your to-do list. You're not your ability to keep going and going and going when what you really need is a nap or a hug or some cold medicine or all of the above. So I bless the instinct that had me choose resilience as the topic for today, because this is a sermon for all of you, but it's also really a sermon for me. Our resilience, our ability to face both the hardships of life, those really tough moments, the pain and the grief, and also just the struggles of everyday living, because everyday living is really a struggle, isn't it, sometimes? Our ability to face all of that and recover is not rooted in the Energizer Bunny keep going mentality. It's not a failure to realize that we're finite. I'm going to say that one more time. It's not a failure to realize that we are finite. We have limits. And resilience is not overcoming those limits, although that's what the Energizer Bunny would like you to believe. Not at all. Resilience is accepting those limits and working within them. Resilience is taking the time and space you need to recover so you can keep going. It's about nourishing our bodies and our hearts so that we can rest and get up again the next day. It's not about driving us into the ground, giving every single piece of our energy away so we have nothing left for ourselves. That is only the road to burnout and despair. And that's why I canceled appointments on Thursdays. I emailed to say I wouldn't be able to attend a few meetings. I took to the couch with a heated blanket, a cup of tea, and the cats. I gave my eyes a rest, and more importantly, I gave myself permission to rest and just be for a while. And it was while I was resting that I finally, for the first time in days, started to feel grounded and calm. I had been running and running all week. That little hamster in its wheel in my brain had not stopped for days. And to be honest, many of my weeks are like this, and many of your weeks are like this. Every day presents struggles to stay grounded, to stay in the moment, to not be thinking forward or behind. I know it's the same for a lot of you, because we're all human, especially right now in the midst of this seemingly never-ending pandemic and everything else. The ability to stay grounded and present can often feel really, really far away. But me getting quiet, me on the couch, huddled with the tea and the cats, me being there and being calm allowed that still small voice to finally break in for the first time in days. That still small voice that I call God, that whispers to me about who I really am and what I really want. How often do you get quiet enough to hear that voice? Whether you call it God or intuition or the universe or something else entirely, it calls to each of us all the time. It's always there whispering. And it's a great tragedy of our culture of distraction that it's so hard to make space to hear it. On Thursday, swaddled up on the couch, I realized that a lot of my desire to attend that conference had entirely everything to do with FOMO, fear of missing out. Does everybody know that phrase, FOMO, fear of missing out? Everything about wanting to go to that conference had entirely everything to do with FOMO. A lot of my clergy colleagues would be there. What if I miss something important? What if something amazing happened? And now we're talking about a clergy conference. So by amazing, I mean like a sermon or a workshop, which is amazing to me, may not be amazing to you. But what if something like that happened and I wasn't there to see it? I wasn't able to say that I was there, that I heard it, that I took it in. So as I'm thinking about all of this and realizing how much FOMO plays a role in my decision-making, I kind of sunk into another deeper level. And I realized that laying underneath all that FOMO was a whole layer of, what if I'm not good enough? I should be going to every conference and taking every opportunity to learn, right? Because it'll make me a better minister and better person. And what I should be doing all the time is focusing on being better, right? What if I'm not enough, just as I am right now? I need to do more and be more to have value, to be worthy of this church, to be worthy of my precious life. How much energy do we all waste trying to live into the ideal that we have to do more or be something to matter, to be loved, to be whole. Yeah, things got pretty deep on that couch. And then they went deeper because that still small voice reminded me that I am enough. My worth is not measured by all the things I do. I don't need to be some kind of super Rev Emily to earn my keep, to be good enough, to be loved. And for that matter, neither do any of you. You don't need to be Superman or Iron Man or pick your favorite Marvel character. I mean, if you did, you'd be on lunchboxes and they'd be making Hollywood movies about you, which is pretty cool, but not necessary. See, this is what true resilience is, for me anyway. It's not a toxic, keep going, don't ever stop mandate, but a process of learning my own boundaries, setting my own needs, knowing myself and my abilities so deeply and profoundly that I get to decide when I keep going and I get to decide when I stop. And when I'm able to do that, that's when I connect with my faith, with those beliefs that lie at the core of myself. That's when I hear that still small voice whispering, telling me that I already have all the love and value and worth that I am looking for, that the divine spark in me is glowing strong, and it doesn't need fancy conferences and completed to-do lists to feed it. Our reading this morning has a line in it that gets at what I'm saying. The last line was, quote, "Blessed are they who wildly, boldly abandon winning, for they shall know the path of justice." So that Energizer Bunny, he's on the path of winning. And he's just going to keep going and going and going and going. And you know why? Because he's never going to win. That's the thing. Winning isn't the goal. It shouldn't even be the path. It's not why we're here. It won't help us love each other. It won't help us love the world and fight for justice and equality and safety for all. Winning is a shallow victory. It's meaningless. It doesn't give us anything we truly seek. Because what we seek can't be won. Love, belonging, peace, and joy, we find these by showing up as we are and accepting those around us in the same way, by opening our hearts to the love that is offered to us and opening our minds to the experiences of others. And sure, there's a lot of compassion and growth and learning and patience that you need to do all of that. We spend our lives learning how to do this, if we're lucky. And that's why I see resilience as a spiritual practice, because it teaches me to pace myself, to be present, to allow space for rest and wonder. Resilience is the practice that allows that still small voice to speak. I may be finite, but that voice is infinite and ever present. And the work, my work, is to listen for it. My prayer for all of you is that you may find a way to listen too. May it be so. Amen. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us for our closing hymn, number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere.